just going to hit record and I'm going to share my screen. So for the people that have turned up live, thank you for your time. This is a video talking people through what we do and how we do it. So if you're a paying client, you'll know a lot of this already, and you'd have been through some of this. And for the people that are watching us on the replay, make sure you turn up live. There's a lot more value in turning up live. You get to interact, ask questions, and get some feedback on what we're asking. You can get a better understanding. So it is always worth turning up live. But we'll get into this anyway, and we'll start going through how we utilize information from blood, stools, and genetics to give us the best possible results with our clients. So as the story goes, when I was starting out as a young trainer, I was working at Fitness First Florida, and I was just starting out at the very, very bottom. And I saw this beautiful girl. She used to come into the group classes every day, and she'd never get any results. She never looked any different, but I saw how much potential she had. And I said to her, like, I'm a young trainer, I'm trying to build a reputation for myself in the industry. Would you be interested in letting me coach you for free? We'll prep, go on stage, do a competition, and I'll use that as to help build my reputation. You get free coaching. So she agreed, and I coached her for free every single day. Nicola, mute yourself, girl. We worked together every single day for 6 months. She'd come in on her lunch break from uni. We would train together. We'd go through her nutrition, go through her psychology, go through her lifestyle, go through her training. And I knew everything about her. I knew exactly how she would respond to every single stimulus. It took us a long time to get that information, 6 months, but by the end of it, I knew everything I needed to know. She went on stage. She came first at state level. She went and did the state super show. She won the super show, got her pro card, and she was set to go to Las Vegas to compete at the World Championships and win over there. But funds prevented that. Obviously, being a uni student, it's pretty difficult to fund a flight and a holiday to Vegas. So she didn't end up going to the Worlds, but anyway, that was the start of it. And then I sort of looked at what I was doing with my clients and said, how can I get such great results for Steph, but not for all of my other clients? Well, what was the difference? Well, the difference is I know everything I need to know about Steph. I know how she's going to respond to carbs. I know how she's going to respond to HIIT cardio. I know how she's going to respond to steady state cardio. I know how she's going to respond to a calorie surplus, a calorie deficit. I know how she's going to respond to volume training, to strength training. I knew everything I needed to know about her. I knew exactly what I had to do to get her to where I wanted to be. And I didn't have that much information about my other clients. I said, okay, cool. Well, I want to get all of my clients the best possible results. So, I need to get that much information on them. But of course, you can't spend every single lunch break with every single client that you have every single day of the week. Either you just don't have that much time available, and clients can't afford to pay you that much money. So I had to find another way to get that information from my clients to be able to get them the level of results I wanted. Getting some people some kind of results some of the time just wasn't good enough. I didn't want that. I didn't want to be a fucking trainer counting to 10 reps, prescribing crappy diet plans and getting people kind of okay results. Like, that just didn't interest me at all. I wanted to get everybody the best kind of results possible. And to do that, I needed the same information on the client as I had on Steph. And that the more information we can gather, the more secure, the more confident we can be that we can get you to a high standard of health and a better body composition. It's all about information and understanding. And how we do that now is through using high level testing. It saves time. It's way quicker, way easier, and way more cost effective. So just before we start, get into the presentation, obviously, it's always about having ideas to create content for people. And this was an idea given to me by our our in-house sleep specialist, Evie Honor. She's our in-house sleep specialist. She does presentations from time to time. I think she's actually doing another presentation soon on sleep. So if you're not a paying client and you want to speak to a sleep specialist on how to optimize your sleep standard, then speak to me about getting into our pay group when you can be exposed to some of the best coaching in the world. But thanks to her for giving me the idea to do this presentation today and help you guys out on that level. So I'm just going to share my screen and we'll get into the presentation. All right, so here we are. This is the home screen. I just need to move this a little bit. Blood, stools, and genetics. So let me just try and get rid of this. There we go. The key to long-term success comes from creating an in-depth understanding of your own personal physiology. So the more you can understand yourself, the better long-term results you're going to get. Like all the low level, the D grade coaches in this world will preach to you, all you need is a calorie deficit, calorie deficit, calorie deficit, calorie deficit, move more, eat less, move more, eat less. And yeah, that will get you some level of results to some degree, because it's applying the laws of thermodynamics, which is the number one law of physics, and we can never deny that. It will get some people results to some degree, but it won't get you the best kind of possible long-term results. It's just a simple mathematical equation, and it's not enough nowadays. This is 2021. To lose a couple of kilos isn't enough. Our goal should be to get to optimal health. One, because we all deserve to be at optimal health. And two, the standard of our food and the standard of our environment isn't good enough nowadays. 100 years ago, we were in a completely different world, and to just be at a healthy weight was good enough. But now, with the standard of our environment and the standard of our foods, being at a healthy weight isn't enough. You can still be unhealthy and be at a healthy weight. And our focus should be, we need to apply attention to having a good standard of health. It's not just about eating a calorie deficit or a calorie surplus and being at a healthy weight. It's about getting yourself to optimal health on a lifestyle basis, a psychological basis, and a physiological basis as well. That's all your hormones, that's all your hormone receptor sites, that's all your cellular health, your inner organs. Everything contributes towards where we should be, and our focus should be to get to optimal health, not just eating in a calorie deficit. That is not good enough. You deserve more than that. And what we're finding, with these D grade coaches that are just great at marketing, they're issuing secondhand nutritional systems that worked for someone somewhere because of some reason, and that's just not good enough for you. You deserve more than that. It's like every single person on the planet is unique and different. Your nutritional strategy should reflect that. So if you're going on the internet and seeing this guy did keto, this guy did intermittent fasting or something like that, and you adopt it for you, yes, you may get some kind of results to some degree because it's applying the laws of thermodynamics and you're eating in a calorie deficit to create weight loss, but it doesn't mean that it's right for you, and it doesn't mean it's going to get you to optimal health. Just because you're at a healthy weight doesn't mean that your brain's working well. It doesn't mean that you're healthy on the inside. It doesn't mean that your insulin production and insulin receptor sites are healthy. It doesn't mean that your liver's functioning well. So it's just not enough to do that nowadays. Like, we need to be more advanced with it. Like, as time goes on, as society evolves, our approach towards health needs to evolve as well. And if you're not evolving, and if you are applying this secondhand nutritional systems to your own diet and your own lifestyle, like, you're doing yourself a massive injustice. Some examples of why extremes aren't perfect. So keto, like, when we see people that are overweight, you can almost guarantee to 99% that they are overweight because they've eaten an excess of carbohydrates. So what they do by doing keto is they take carbohydrates out of people's diet, and all of a sudden they're now eating 70% less calories. It's not normally because of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates get demonized because people don't understand them correctly. They remove carbs, they lose weight. They think it's the carbohydrates that were the demon, but it's not. It's just because they've reduced text. You're in and out here. It's just because they've reduced their total calorie consumption by like 70%. The problem with carbohydrates are, one, people apply them through the wrong source. They have crisps, potato chips, fizzy drinks, sugary sweets, biscuits, burger buns. They'll eat carbohydrates from a poor source, poor nutritional source, high in calories, low in nutritional value. And the other one is they have them in poor amounts. They simply have too many. So then, by eliminating carbohydrates, you solve one of these two problems, but they're just demonizing it and putting a blanket over carbohydrates. So it's really bad nutritional advice to say to people, apply the keto diet, unless you know that they're diabetic, type 1, type 2, or pre-diabetic, where their insulin sensitivity or insulin production is low. And you can do that through simple blood testing. So rather than ruining someone's life, some people love low carb. I actually like low carb diet. I just don't tolerate carbs very well. But there's an importance for me to have them. I need them for performance, recovery, and adaptation. Without carbohydrates, I can't perform, adapt, and recover well enough. So I have to have carbs. But I do actually like a low carb diet. But for people that love carbs, which is the majority of people, to tell them to lose weight by going on the keto diet is really bad information, and it creates a poor relationship with food. Now people are scared to eat certain foods, and they're demonizing carbohydrates. They're missing out on environments and occasions that, you know, involve carbohydrates. So they become withdrawn and feel sadness that they can't eat the foods that they like anymore. They associate weight loss success with misery and pain and suffering because they're missing out on their foods, and that's not what health and nutrition should be about. So prescribing a second-hand nutritional system based on poor information is really, 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 really bad practice. And the same again with intermittent fasting as well. Like telling people to not eat breakfast or not eat dinner, you're just getting them to reduce their total calorie intake. And it's not the timing of the nutrients that make the difference, it's the total value of them. And by missing a meal, you're simply just eating less. And again, it gives people bad perceptions of what health and success and weight management is about. Tell people to stop eating breakfast, they lose weight. Now all of a sudden they associate not eating with losing weight. So then they want to lose more weight. So what do they do next? Well, the only thing they do know, eat less. So they miss lunch. And now we're creating eating disorders. And this all comes like veganism, like all of this. Like veganism's fine if you're doing it for ethical reasons. If you're doing it for health reasons, then you're misinformed. It's not the quality of all meats. And if you're doing it for health reasons, you need to have a look at why you're doing it for health reasons. Are you just buying poor quality meats? If you're doing it for ethical reasons, then that's perfectly fine. Good on you. I commend you and encourage you. If you're doing it for health reasons, then I would say you're probably misinformed. But there's good quality meats out there that you can be perfectly healthy on. And same here, like with training as well, you know, like German volume training is great, and it's going to get you to grow muscle, but not everybody has the physical capabilities to perform it and execute it. So, you know, if I wanted Perks to grow more muscle, if I wanted Rita to grow more muscle, I could prescribe German volume training. It doesn't mean that that's right for them. We need to know, is this right for this individual or not? How can we get this information? Before I start prescribing extremes, cardio hit, before I start prescribing 5 sessions of 45 minutes of steady state cardio to somebody, I need to know how their body's going to respond and if it's required. And the same with like bro split training as well. I don't want to prescribe anything to anybody, especially not something that's in the extremes, to get them a result. I want to know exactly what they need, and I need to get information before I can prescribe that. If someone's not doing their due diligence and they're prescribing this stuff without being able to justify it, then it's really, really bad practice. So some things that we look for on bloods, this is the very least that we want to do for someone is, you know, we want to check a full blood panel before we prescribe anything to them to get a good understanding of where they're at. When we work with clients, what we'll do is we'll get information on their lifestyle. We'll ask them what time they wake up, right? What time do they have a break, how many meals can they fit in a day, what are their favorite foods, illness, injuries, allergies, how many kids, dependents do they have, what kind of support network do they have. We want to have information on their lifestyle. We also want to know information on their psychology. Are they athletic? Are they someone that's always struggled to achieve success? Are they somebody that doesn't believe that they're worthy of their goal? We want to understand this. And we do this on the initial consult call as well. We get a good understanding of who people are and where they're at and where they need to be met. And then we also want to get a good understanding of where people are on a physiological level as well. Like I don't want to write a diet for somebody unless I know what's happening on the inside. Like if I don't know where their insulin and glucose levels are from a basic blood panel test, I can guess where your carbs should be. And I'm a very experienced coach. I'm one of the best coaches in the world. I can make a very educated guess and get pretty close. But sometimes I get it wrong. And, you know, one in 100 clients, like if you don't have this information, like you just can't tell. Like someone can look perfectly healthy. They come to you for weight management and they're pre-diabetic. Like you can't tell that by looking at them from the outside. You can say, yeah, you're overweight. It might take you 6 to 8 months of trial and error before you identify it's been a problem. Like, why do you want to take that risk? Do a fucking blood panel and find out how insulin receptive they are. It just doesn't make sense to do trial and error with this. You know, I had it with one guy. He's been with me for like 6 years now. It took me probably a year before I started doing this with everybody. It took me a year to do a blood panel and find out that he was pre-diabetic. So I look at my glasses because it hurts my eyes. And that was that was like the final straw for me. It was like, why am I taking so long to get this information? Let's just do it from the start. Why do you want to wait a year to not get results with people? Like, if you're not getting results you want, it's because something's out of balance or something's not right, and you want to find out what that is. So fucking do the work at the start. Like, you know, I had a girl come to me. She did a comp, came second. My client came first. She came to me after the comp and said, "Hey, look, your girl looked better than me. She beat me. I want to win. What can I do?" And I said, "Well, you know, I can't tell you what you need to do until I've got this information. So let's go and do some blood work. Let's get all this relevant information, and then I can tell you what you need to do." And she came back. She was low in B12, and B12 supports liver function, and it also supports energy production. So we gave her a B12 supplementation to help get her levels back to where they needed to be. So she'd done a full comp prep, and no one had even checked this for her. As soon as we gave her B12, her strength went up, her training output went up. More training output means more physical adaptation, more stimulus created, more physical adaptation. So she started getting better results. She also had more energy, more strength, and B12 supports liver function. And all of a sudden, the legs that weren't lean enough in the comp started getting leaner because the liver started functioning better. She started detoxifying estrogens, and she started getting the results that she needed and looking better. And it's just because her coach didn't do this with her at the start. And she was doing it at a high level. You know, she was competing. She wasn't just, you know, training for health. She was going to get on stage in a tiny bikini and let the world look at her. Magnesium, again, vitamin B12. And this is what people do, like supplement companies, like those Alpha Venus things that you see. I can't remember, ATP, I think, make them. They prey on the fact that people are going to be low in B12. So they pump these products full of B12, hoping that the people that do take them start feeling a lot better. And then they start saying, you know, no, I feel so much better. Dana, how are you? They start feeling a lot better from taking the B12. But for people that aren't low in B12, it actually makes them feel a bit worse. Like, I had a girl, it shouldn't really have any side effects or consequences, but this is what happens. So I had a client that wasn't deficient in B12. She wanted to feel better. She had a hormonal imbalance. So she started taking this Alpha Venus supplement, and it had a lot of B12 in it. And then she started taking other female supplements as well to try and make her feel better. They all had B12 in them as well, all preying on the fact that she may have been low in B12, taking the gamble. There's no side effects of having a little bit extra B12. Your body will just process it. But when you start combining 2 or 3 or 4 supplements that are high in B12, she had a really high level of B12, and it started making her feel shit. So she was buying like $300 worth of supplements a month, and it was stuff that she didn't even need, and it was actually contributing towards making her feel worse. Why would you pay that money when you can just pay a coach, get some blood work done, and find out whether you're high or low in B12? Same with vitamin D is another common one that we see people low in. Magnesium, again, like, we want to know if you're deficient or suboptimal in magnesium before we start prescribing training and nutrition to you. You can't grow muscle as well if you're deficient in magnesium. This supports muscle protein synthesis. So if your coach is giving you training and nutrition, expecting you to go in the gym and do like German volume training or double training, and they haven't checked to see if you're low in magnesium, it's like, you know, they're just flogging you for no reason without being diligent. So you want to check this. Insulin glucose, like, how many carbs can we give you? We want to know this answer. We don't want to just give you carbohydrates, spend a year trying to figure out why you're not losing weight when you're pre-diabetic. Adrenal inflammatory markers, like, there's no point in dieting somebody, like, unless you know how active their thyroid is. You know, like, you can do it, and for the majority of people, like, they'll be fine. But for the people that are struggling, like, you want this information to find out what's going on. And the same again, like, if your sex hormones are out of balance, there's 0 point in dieting. It just doesn't make sense to do all that hard work without doing the smart work. Oh, gone too far there. Can I go back? Oh no, messed it up now, and blood, stools. There we go. So if somebody is really struggling with their digestion, if they've got bloating, irregular stools, constipation, loose stools, if they're really struggling, if they have irregular bloating and pain, we try to fix it without stool analysis, because stool analysis is really, really tricky, really detailed, and takes a long time. And to get the GP to do it for free, it takes a lot of work. You can pay to do it private. but it costs a fair bit of money. So this is kind of what we go to when we get stuck. We try to fix digestion, and we can normally fix it. Myself, Mickey, Brenton, and Kerb, when she was working for us, we were really, really good at picking digestive issues. We know what all the symptoms lead to, and we know what the root cause of the issue is from asking questions, and we can normally fix these things and get digestion pretty good without doing a stool analysis. But when we get stuck and we can't fix it, we will turn to stool analysis to get more information. We don't want to just prescribe what's that, ATP gut right? Like, that just fucking blows my mind. People got a digestive issue, could be one of anything, and they're taking a general like gut right supplement to try and fix it. It's bonkers why people would spend that money taking a potluck. It's like taking a punt at the bookies, you know, going in and putting 100 quid on a football team to win when you've got no information about them at all. You know, like, if I'm going to put 100 quid on a game, you know, I want to be sure that they're going to win, you know, as confident as I can be. I don't want to be like going in there and just betting on a sport I don't understand. And that's what people are doing when they're buying these products like ATP Alpha Venus and ATP Gut Right. Like, it's mad. Like, get the right information and have like a pinpoint sniper approach to the work that you do. There's things like bacterial overgrowth, parasitic infections, gut microbiome, and all this can affect not just your bloating and your digestion and your energy and the results that you get because you're not absorbing micronutrients and macronutrients correctly. It can also lead to brain health as well. There's a direct connection from your gut to your brain. It's called the vagus nerve, and everything is connected. Your brain is connected to your gut is connected to your brain. I'm sure you've heard of people say your gut is a second brain. Well, it's true. You know, it's very true and very important, and people don't understand the importance of this. There's no point in counting your calories and macros if you have poor digestive health, because everything you put in is going to get completely thrown out and the equations won't equate because you're not absorbing those macro and macronutrients correctly. Depression and anxiety are symptoms of poor gut health, and so are sleep and stress. They can be affected and disrupted if you don't have good gut health. Genetic profiling, I've done a lot of work and a lot of study on this. We don't use it a whole lot simply because the information you get is impacted by environmental factors first. The environmental factors have a bigger influence over these outcomes, more so than your genetics. Your genetics will tell you, genetic profiling will tell you the person you were born to be, but it can't tell you the person and the circumstances that you're facing right now. So it can't tell you your maximum recoverable volume as a dead set. It can say this person genetically has the potential to be able to train 10 times per week, but then you have to take into consideration age, injuries, illnesses, current standard of health. So this is really high level stuff, and I only advise doing it if you're just cash up. So I worked with a world champion bodybuilder a couple of years ago. He was a multi-millionaire. He's just bought a house for 27.5 million. A good friend of mine. We did do this genetic profiling with him. It said that he could train up to 12 times per day, and he responded better to higher volume rather than low volume training. So we made those changes to him, and he started getting better results than he did before. And that was a very high level bodybuilder that had done a lot of work on himself and knew a lot. This information was really, really great for him, but like I say, it's expensive and it's not conclusive, because you have to take into consideration environmental factors over genetic factors. But it is good for things like gluten, dairy tolerance, caffeine tolerance, and carb tolerance. Like, I know that I have a low carb tolerance, but because of my environmental factors, I train hard and live healthy, I can get more in. But this information is great. It's just not essential. If you've got money to burn and you want a little bit more information, then, you know, we can do this. And it is good for the right person in the right circumstances. But the thing with genetic profiling is environmental factors rule supreme. Genetic will tell you the person you were born to be, can't tell you the person that you are and the person you were born to be. So any information is great. The more information you can gather on yourself, the better. The money that I've paid, the testing that I've done, the work that I've done over the years has left me in a position where I can control my body. I know exactly what I need to do. I know how I process stress. I know how to process caffeine. I know how to process carbohydrates. I know what my maximum recoverable volume is. I know how that changes throughout the year. I know what kind of foods I can tolerate, what kind of foods I can eat. Like, I know everything about my body, and I can almost do it intuitively now and take my body to where it needs to be. As I get older, it does get a little bit harder, and things do always change. You do need to be constantly learning, studying, researching, measuring, and changing. But basically, what I'm saying is, The more information you can gather on yourself, the better. And this is what we do with our clients. We get a good understanding of their lifestyle. We do a psychoanalysis. As we talk to them, we keep notes on them. We do this psychoanalysis at the start during the consult call, and then we get information on their physiology, understanding how many carbs we should give to them, etc. And then when you combine these three pieces of information with world-class coaching, myself, Mickey, Brenton, and Christina, world-class coaches that will help guide people through the tough times and over the problems and solve the issues that crop up. Really, for us, the job of the client is just to give us open and honest feedback and allow us to do our job in the best way possible. And world-class results are possible with that. That's what we do, and that's how we do it. Right, guys, someone's unmuted themselves. Dana. So that's what we do. That's how we do it. If anybody's watching this on the replay and wants to get signed up and wants us to go through their blood work with them, drop me a message, drop it in the comments, or message me personally, and we'll go through that with you and start helping you understand your body a lot better than what you do now, and start guiding you towards optimal health. At the end of the day, training and nutrition will get you so far. A goddamn calorie deficit may get you to lose weight, but it also may not. The key to long-term results, the key to optimal health, is to understand yourself, and that comes through information. And that information that you gather today, you need to keep working on that, learning it, studying it, monitoring it, and changing it as you go, because human physiology is never static, and your approach to health and fitness should never be static either. Right, guys, I have got to shoot. I've got a call booked, but thank you. If you want us to help you out, reach out, let us know, and we will get in touch with you and see if you're a good fit for one of our coaching programs. Peace out, yo.